Hello.
Hi.
It's good to meet you, Gilbert.
Nice meeting you.
So I do a podcast.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the podcast?
No.
I've been listening. Actually, I've been listening to your podcast for since the beginning, and developed a little bit of a friendship with Frank. Admittedly, so I know Frank, and also friendly with Dave Feldman and a few other comedy guys who have podcasts. Because I was on Alex Grizel's little network for a while.
Alex is whose house we went to do. What's his name?
Dave.
You know Alex. We went to his apartment in the East Village.
Oh, yeah,
that guy. So, loved the documentary. Saw it at Tribeca Film Festival last spring.
So, so this is to be played on the podcast.
Yeah, it's my own. It's called Film. Here it is. It's called Filmwax Radio.
Yes,
and it's like you bring on old timers. I'm becoming one myself, so I shouldn't really say. I love the show because I'm also stuck in that time warp. In fact, I had Dick Cavett on this show a couple of years ago, and I asked him to do Dueling James Mason's. So I may ask you later. If you're open to that type of thing. But first, let's talk about Gilbert, the documentary, because that's why you're here. Which, by the way, opens November 3rd. Theatrically.
This Friday, November 3rd, yeah.
Congratulations.
IFC Center. Thank you.
Yeah. How many cities is it opening?
I think we're in 15 or 16 right now, so it'll spread.
Yeah.
The next week it'll open in LA, and it'll open from there.
Sure.
And then pretty quickly digitally, but it'll be in theaters for a little while.
Sure, yeah. But it's nice to have that theatrical. Are you enjoying that? I saw you actually do live animated that Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
You were pretty great there. But is that something you enjoy doing? Because it's a different tack for you.
Yeah, I have to take my hands away from my mouth. You know?
By the way, I meant to I was in a hotel recently. And I thought, you're going to appreciate this more than me. Sorry, Dara. Let's stick it under the bed.
Wow, I've got 2 underarms.
Yeah.
And is this a
This lotion? I know you'll really love.
We have so many. This is the soap with the little dots on it.
Oh, this is the massaging soap.
Oh, so it's like kind of rough.
Yeah, no, there's like, if you open it up, you'll see.
It's got like
dots.
See now how he came to life.
Oh, this one doesn't have the dots on it. Usually this.
It's a dot-free.
This one usually has the dots.
What? There was a kind of soap or cleaner that my father used to use when he'd be like plastering or painting.
Right.
That was like sand. It was a...
Yeah, I remember now. I know it's a gritty kind of soap.
We have some of that. It's green. I have it in Lily.
But, I mean, it's like a putty kind of thing.
And there's an orange one.
Yeah, heavy
duty.
Oh,
sand.
yeah. Mechanics use it.
Yeah.
They scoop it out. Yeah.
Like where it just scrubs your hand as your hands has...
I have to admit I'm out of my league at this moment.
Yeah.
Soap-wise, I'm kind of a standard guy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get married, you definitely up the greatest soap.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You go from
Gilbert, they also make soaps in full-size bars. Like, they're about that big.
Max asked me this morning when he was taking a shower. Max actually asked me this morning when he was taking a shower. He's like, why does Daddy do this to the soaps? Why does he have to bunch them all together and make bars out of all the little soaps?
You don't know that.
He takes all...
This is news breaking.
Smash them together.
He'll take all the little soaps and he'll unwrap them, and then he'll run them underwater and mash them together to make big bars.
Makes sense.
Yeah, what, like, when we were moving in together and I had all these soaps, soaps from, like, Howard Hughes airline. I mean, it was...
Pan Am, Airlines.
Right.
And they were, those tiny little soaps. And I remember I asked one of my sisters, I said, well, do you need some soaps? I could bring it. And she goes, I don't want those tiny soaps. So what I did was I stayed up most of the night running the soaps underwater and then with all my might pressing them together into these
he had a garbage bag. Huge garbage bag full of these bars that he made, and he brought them to brunch for Mother's Day and gave it to his sister.
How is this not in the documentary? That's my question. How is it?
There's only 96 minutes.
There's
you
a
can't
lot,
get everything.
Yeah.
But it does bring up a point, which is you were together how long, by the way?
You were shot for about 7 months. 7 months. 6 to 7 months, yeah.
Okay. Enough to get a like a cycle of his
Yeah.
Gilbert's lifestyle. So he's touring here, he's doing the podcast, he's getting into trouble or whatever it is. Okay, because I'm going to guess that you had many hundreds of hours.
It was about 400 hours, and there is going to be on the DVD. There is going to online.
Yeah,
there is a 2.5 hour version of the movie where it's all this other stuff that we couldn't get in that I loved. It's tough. You make sacrifices and cut things that you. Yeah. So
sorry to interrupt. What do you? I don't know how you feel, Dara, about having your personal life out there in the world. But he certainly expresses right in the documentary itself that Gilbert expresses that he's not particularly excited that his private life is now on display, after many years of concealing all that. And now there's even more hours of footage coming out online eventually when the movie goes online.
Yeah, it's very... I was uncomfortable every second of the making of this, but I'm just too much of a wimp to say, don't follow me. And so it's kind of like in one of the Marx Brothers' later movies, when they were, not doing all that great and the movies weren't that good, one time one of the studios said, hey, how about in this one, Harpo says something? And then, that was going to be their big gimmick to get people to talk about it. And they, of course, said, no way.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine?
But you're happy how it turned out.
I would have been completely.
Yeah,
I'm doing his impression. I'm doing Gilbert doing Latter Day Groucho.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we were against that from the start because Harpo doesn't speak in the movies.
See, I was always fascinated by that old crowd.
Of course.
Yeah.
And Crescenzo needed the money.
Yes.
And how did you feel, Dara? I mean, with all the hours, all that time, and then and plus the kids, everything.
Yeah, I was really happy how it turned out, and I really trusted Neil. I wouldn't have done this if it was anybody else. I knew that Neil...
I wouldn't trust him with my soaps and hand lotion.
It's weird, though. I always wonder, because the way I do it, I'm by myself. Like, there's no other people around, just me and a camera.
What about the boom?
It's no boom.
Oh, it's a shotgun?
That's on the camera, and I would hang a lav on him, so he was always
right.
But, and I'm always in my head thinking, this doesn't look real. It doesn't look like anyone's really doing anything.
It didn't feel real.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense, because it's not the typical, even the intimate type of documentary where you're sort of, just... You're in the bedroom. You're in the, you're there with everybody. Yeah.
It just felt like I was hanging out with a friend,
But how do you establish that? Because it becomes that. I understand that where you do build a trust or gain a trust. But how do you establish that trust?
Gilbert, I just wore him down. I went over to the house every day. I'd go there every day at 9 in the morning and just sit down with my camera and go, all right, here we go. Let's do it. And I would travel with him, and I was just always, I just never left. Dara and I got along great from the beginning.
Yeah.
It wasn't difficult.
Yeah.
And when he started showing up at my house, like every morning when I get up and I'd be in my bathrobe and I'd see him, I would always cringe. Like, oh God, he's there again.
It's like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, yes. And so it was a very strange experience.
It sounds rude when you say it after it's all done. Like, I would just go to his house when you wake up in the morning.
The proof is in the pudding. It's a really entertaining and surprisingly moving documentary too. What I noticed is, I don't know, Neil, I know your third feature, but so you've become quite a documentary filmmaker. But you interestingly crafted it. I noticed at the beginning, it focuses more on the family, the birth of the children, the kind of the beginning of the relationship between Dara and Gilbert, and then towards the end of the film, it deals with mortality and the end, dealing with the end of life and a lot of that mortality, essentially. And your sister was pretty ill during the making of the film, and I know she passed away this past summer. Was that something intentional? Do you know?
No, it's interesting. Like, actually, when you say how did I get Gilbert to open up, when she kind of opened up to me about, this is Arlene, his sister.
Yes.
When she opened up to me about her illness, I said, can I talk to Gilbert about this? And she said, yeah, you can talk to Gilbert about it. So that kind of gave me, I did ask her permission, and when she said yes, that's when he kind of opened up and we talked about something that was pretty painful at the time.
Yeah.
But no, like that, there's a moment where he's at an event for St. Jude's and has to go perform his act after this guy tells this gut-wrenching story about his own daughter's cancer.
Yeah.
And that was a real moment. That was the first week we shot.
Oh, it was?
It was the first weekend I was with them. Yeah, that happened. That was a real moment. That was Gilbert kind of like, okay, I should talk to this guy about what just happened, because this was a very hard thing to go through.
Sure.
So that was very real and very early, and it was later on that I found out about his sister's cancer, and those stories kind of ended up converging in the movie. But
who was your editor?
James Lesh.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
terrific job.
Yeah,
really
thank you for that. He's a genius.
Incredible.
Yeah, he's so good.
And it was one of those moments that also brings out, because there is, of course, mentioning the September 11th joke. I did the Friars roast and the tsunami tweets. And it shows, like, at St. Jude's, like, that closeness of tragedy and comedy.
True.
And because I was really nervous about, when I was waiting to go on, and this guy was talking about driving his daughter to get cancer treatments, and it was just, people were crying. And I thought, oh God, I just want to get home. I get me out of here. And I went up and, did my usual sick, obscene stuff. And the audience, it did great.
Yeah.
Because they needed it. They were in such pain. They needed to laugh. And it was...
it's a release of the tension.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah. And the greatest thing for me is I looked and I saw the guy who was talking about his daughter right before I got on. And he was laughing. And it looked like his face lit up. And I thought, wow.
Yeah, it's in the film. It's a beautiful moment.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that was one of the goals, is to show that these comics are people. Like, they have families, and they have sick relatives, and they have kids, So when they make a joke that you think is offensive or too soon, it's not because they're just these evil people. That's just how they're processing it and how they're dealing with it. They're just different kinds of people, and it's not bad to be like that. In the movie, I really tried to, show that these are people, just like us. They just have different timing.
Yeah. Did you feel, Gilbert, I don't know, did you feel like you had a pressure that you wanted to make the documentary a success, that you had to deliver something from yourself as a result?
It's weird. It never really crossed my mind. I remember, I always say, seeing Neil following me around, he would always get on my nerves. And I thought, this is a guy following me. Why doesn't he leave me alone and let me lead my life? But, what amazes me, well, I'm always amazed if I get good reviews. That's still, I'm always shocked. But the documentary has been getting nothing but, favorable reviews. And one thing that more than one critic has said, and it sounds like a blurb that we would have put on the poster ourselves, but the critics have been saying, you'll laugh and you'll cry.
That's like the biggest cliche, right?
Yeah.
It became a part
but
of it.
It's true.
It's
true.
It sounds like something that, the studio would slap on a poster.
Right.
And yet the critics have said that.
Yeah. So, what was your response? Actually, Dara, what was your response first time you saw it?
Oh, wow. Well, we didn't see it until it was finished. Neil made this entire movie, and we didn't see any of it until it's done.
Did you actually have a formal kind of agreement about final cut?
We had a formal agreement. Here's the agreement we had.
Yeah.
Dara said, if you put that Mackenzie Phillips joke in the movie, I'll never talk to you again. And I said, Dara, I'm going to show you the movie, and then we're going to have a conversation. And she watched it, and then she talked to Gilbert, and she said, okay, I get it. I see what you did. So there were no notes or asks to change things.
Right.
So the agreement was, let me do it. I'll show it to you. If something's not true, I'll fix it. But if something doesn't make you look good or make him look good, but it's honest, then we'll talk about it. So in the end,
that's how you built the trust.
Yeah, exactly. But I was really impressed when I saw the movie. I was like, wow, this is... Between the music, I thought the editing was amazing. The music fit perfectly. They scored the whole thing.
Oh, it's really nice score.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
It was an original score. I mean, they hired
there was, at the end, there was... Someone to watch over me, I think.
Yeah,
but
I
rewatched it this morning.
We re-recorded it though. It's our version.
Oh, is that
we
true?
bought the publishing to that, but
really,
it's our version of the song. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's all original music. My original thing was like there were times where I was like, this should be black and white, like just like a Woody Allen movie, and like it's very influenced by that. Like it's very jazzy music, and it's New York. Yeah. So born in Coney Island. So
exactly.
Yeah. So.
You were impressed how it came out.
Oh yeah.
What were the circumstances?
Yeah.
What's the circumstances?
I hold my hands.
My mouth.
Yeah.
What was the circumstances of the screening the first time you saw it? Was it like a private type of?
Yeah.
It was like you didn't see it like at a festival.
No, we went to Nutmeg where they do the podcast and watched in the video room.
Okay.
We had a couple friends come and Arlene came, which was nice. She got to see the movie.
That's the best thing. Is like I'm so happy people get to discover her and her artwork. Like
that was. I was going to say earlier. Frankly, I'm surprised you didn't just stop and change course, as will happen when you and make a documentary about her, because clearly she also had a rather remarkable.
I mean, you hear me say it. She pulls out this book and she said, "This is your book," and she said, "Yeah, with the choir." And then she said, "I joined the choir," and I said, "You joined the choir?"
And there was footage of again. Arlene is one of Gilbert's two sisters, correct?
Yes.
Two?
Yeah.
There was the three of you, right?
Yeah. Arlene and Karen.
Right.
But towards the end, she started to get more and more sick, and I was like, I hope she makes it just to see it. I'm so happy she got to see it.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
Yeah, that was important. That was the funny thing is, I'm almost more happy it got made for her to see than me.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. And getting back to what Neil was saying about, because Dara was really angry about the Mackenzie Phillips bit.
Yeah.
He always hated.
People will just have to see the movie to know what we're referring to.
Because Mackenzie Phillips did say her father.
Well, let's leave that out. I want people to see it. Can you tell the rest of it?
But it also shows what Neil shows there is that like the idea of like, oh well, this guy, if he's laughing at subjects like this, then he's a horrible human being. And then you show me like, wait a minute, he's not a horrible... Wait a minute, what's going on here?
Well, that was the trick. Like, I knew that if we made a movie that good enough and did what it should be, like people like my mother who don't like that language at all could watch it and roll through it and be more affected by the rest of it. You know, the other stories, the kids and Dara and the sister, like, okay, yes, that's his job, but this is what he's really like. So that was very satisfying.
Did you see? I know, of course, you saw Fern Perlstein's documentary.
Yes, I love Fern.
Yeah, so do I. I did a Q&A actually with her recently at the Alamo Draft House because they asked me to moderate their Q&A for the last laugh, right?
Yeah.
Which explores this and also a great deal like the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. How much can
Oh yeah,
yeah. So, but so you saw it at the Nutmeg Studio. You saw it for the first time, and what was your reaction?
Well,
Albert?
I mean, when I watch it, it's like I've said this a few times. It's like, to me, it's like what hell must be that you die and then there's a giant screen and you're forced to watch your own life. And so for me, it was, yeah. And so, but I mean, other people like it. I like when other people like it, but for me, I'm always cringing. What?
Nothing.
What?
But that Last Laugh is a movie. We had to one up it. That's a movie about jokes about the Holocaust. We got actual Nazis in our movie.
That's true. Again, cliffhanger. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That was really brilliant. At one of your gigs.
It was. There was like these
Convention.
Yeah, a war convention.
Like a military...
Every war you can imagine.
Right, yeah.
Every war from
and some you couldn't imagine.
Yeah, there's World War One, the Civil War, Korea, Vietnam. And it was so surreal that, like, Nazi officers would be running over to me, excited and nervous to see me, and yelling, "Oh, Problem Child was my favorite movie," and they'd all be taking out their phones and asking me nervously if they could do a selfie with me, and you're sitting there going, "Gee, I had these Nazis wrong all this time. Gee, I
got to rethink everything."
Yeah, I thought they were such bad people.
Who knew?
Yeah.
All right. Again, Gilbert, the documentary Gilbert, opens on November 3rd in New York City, theatrically. And then a week later,
Expands
the 10th.
from there, the 10th, yeah.
In LA, and then on and on and on and on until Gilbert goes completely crazy.
Yeah.
Or whatever the next stage is after that. Two things. One is, at the very end, you make a reference to Fritz Feld, who I also...
yes.
And how his signature, popped up.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just thinking when you said that later on, like Groucho, like all these guys, they have their one thing, and then they last... Or rather, they work too long, almost.
Yeah.
They refuse to stop, and that's all he had. So you would end up later on, when like on sitcoms, making cameos.
Oh,
like Here's Lucy or something. And by then, he was so old, he had lost his pucker.
Oh.
So he would do the thing, and it would just kind of like...
They'd have to pop a balloon.
Maybe the special effects, because he didn't quite have the pucker anymore. Anyway, that was my observation.
That's in the movie.
Well, when you're like 80 and you're still trying to do that kind of thing that he was known for.
I put that in there. It's the last thing you see in the movie, because that's the most I saw Gilbert laugh in 7 months of shooting. He killed himself with that one. So that was just fun to put.
No, it's a great little...
Yeah.
And the other favorite is when my grandmother refers to me as a homosexual.
That was wonderful. She really believed that, huh?
Yeah.
Gilbert gets outed in the movie.
Even though was she still alive when you were together?
Yes, but it was only for a little bit of time, and then she passed away.
Mm. But she didn't know.
I never met her.
Did she still believe? Oh, you didn't?
I never met her.
Okay.
She lived to 104.
It's really just...
Yeah.
No, but she said that way before I was in the picture.
Did she outlive your mom?
Yeah. My mother, I think, was 83.
Okay.
She lived to playing with stuff on the table and covering my mouth.
Dara. Yeah. That's why she produces you even on my podcast. She's going to get a producer credit on my podcast. Okay.
Also, she comes along with me to remind me, you're supposed to say something good about the film, too. That's why we're here.
So say it's good, so we have it on the record.
Yeah, can she go on Colbert with you tonight?
Yes.
We're doing Colbert tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it might be anticlimactic after this. Sorry for that.
Might be anti-Semitic. Yeah.
Anti-Semitic. Yeah. All right, we're ending it. I just want to ask one thing. I mentioned before, if you can you do a line from a James Mason movie? And then I'm gonna do one, and then maybe they can judge which is best.
Oh, okay.
Or better, the better. Courtney will need your opinion too.
Yes.
Congratulations, my dear. Seem to have arrived just in time. I know most of you gentlemen on a first name basis, so there's no need to be so formal. The reason I've come here tonight is I need a job. That's it. That's the entire speech. I need a job. I'm not just strong, I can do comedy as well.
It's an entire scene from the Stars Born. What is that?
Yeah, Star is Born.
All right, mine is going to be much shorter
Yeah.
for the sake of time here. All right.
Lolita, don't play with those dirty boys. Don't you know they're only after us one thing? Hello?
That was great.
That was good.
Thank you.
And Boys
Boys
from
from
Brazil.
Gregory Peck.
Yes. Dr. Mengele, your plan has been cancelled. Cancelled? My plan is not cancelled. Your plan is cancelled.
You threw a Gregory Peck on top of it. Clearly, you win that round. Anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Dara,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to take you guys back over.